This was, man. This was a good one. I know it's been a long time since I've played Elden Ring, and I know I went through and I did everything for that. I platinumed it and everything. It's a FromSoft game. From Software is one of my favorite companies out there. I think everything they've done is amazing. But the truth is, I thought Sekiro was better than Elden Ring. I even think the Demon Souls remaster is a little better than Elden Ring. And so it's hard to understand how this didn't win Game of the Year and Elden Ring did. Not that I don't think Elden Ring deserved it, but I mean, this, in my opinion, I think this was probably better than that. Although I don't think I would have picked either one of them to be my Game of the Year. I did have some issues with this, but I'll go over those in a second, because I want to start with just how good the story is. Like, I mean, it's so fleshed out. It's so like well put together. You are this guy, you know, and you're destined to do this thing, and everything you do is in hopes of not having it happen, only to have it happen. You know, and like, but in the end, you're still able to conquer yourself, and it's not because of fate. It's not because of some destined thing. It's not because of like what you believe in terms of like what you're doing, but it's who you are. You see what's going on around you. You can sympathize with lesser characters, and that sympathy allows you to change course. And it's just very powerful stuff. Like, you know, even Kratos, like you have Kratos who's so up his own butt, you know, in terms of, no, this is who I am, and this is what I do, and this is how it has to be. And then you have his son Atreus, who's, no, that can't be. It has to be better than that. We have to be better than that. And he gets rebellious about it. You know, he gets angry with his father, and he like runs away to prove that he's not some child anymore. And him running away is what finally allows his dad to see that he's not a kid anymore, you know? And it's just it's just a really, really good story. And like, I mean, it's still fun to play. Like, I like the battle system, I like the battle techniques and everything. I like the way the game plays out. The maps are fantastic. It looks beautiful. I've said this multiple times. This is the first next generation game that really looks next generation to me, and it's just a very beautiful game. Beautiful game. Very lush, descriptive, full of life, for a lack of a better term. Areas and world that you go to. These 9 realms are very distinct in their own right, and they have their own kind of atmosphere, and not just atmosphere, but they have their own living, breathing embodiment of what they are and who they stand for, the people that are there. You've got all these connected characters, all connected through this guy that everybody seems to adore, but really it's more fear than anything. And then you play as these 2 guys with the help of a couple here and there, like Freya and Thrud, and Argabor, or whatever her name is, that see through all that, and they understand that, you know, it's your story, meaning Kratos and Atreus. And then in the end, Atreus, you know, giving up the opportunity to stay with his dad because he's got a destiny that he has to fulfill. He's stepping into his own. The whole game is about him trying to find his purpose. Why am I here? What did mom want from me? Why do I only have the first half of my story? And then, you know, he realizes why that is. And at the same time, Kratos, you know, you see the ending, Muriel, and it's like, well, yeah, mom put us on this path, but halfway through it, we were the ones making the decisions to do what we wanted to do. Kratos says it himself. If it wasn't for the actions of Atreus, everything would have gone differently. All hell would have broken loose, and Ragnarok really would have destroyed everything. Just a very, very well done story, and the gameplay is phenomenal. But I mean, my one biggest gripe with the game probably is that the gameplay didn't really get any different. Yeah, you do have a new weapon. The spear is actually pretty cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like it at first. I thought I would just use it as a way to like get to new areas and stuff by blowing rocks up and creating poles you can jump on and stuff like that. But it really did serve a purpose. Like, and you don't really, yeah, of course you have it, but like, you don't really notice how much of a difference it makes until you get to that fight with Heimdall, and then, and then you have to use it, and you're kind of forced to learn how to use it and everything. And it is fun, but like I was saying this before, Kratos goes through this entire journey before this game. This is a direct sequel to God of War 4, and he goes through this whole journey to like better himself, and he does. He betters himself by the end of it, but he doesn't seem to be really any better of a fighter in this one. And I know probably 99% of that is just because you got to make the game different, right? You can't have the same old. Like, if the enemies get better but Kratos also gets better, then you're kind of at a standstill, like if I give you $10 and then you give me $10, we're both in the same spot that we were. And so they needed to have the enemies get better to make it a little tougher and make combat a little different. But I don't know, maybe they could have made it slightly different, a little bit more faster paced, like a Bloodborne type of thing compared to like a Dark Souls. But at the end, but at the same time, like, had they done that, it would have been a different game, So I can't really complain outside of that one time when I was having issues, and it was because I was playing for for 7 hours, and and the last 2 of which being at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm dead tired because I haven't slept since the night before, and you just kind of get irked. And I said a bunch of stuff about the game that I didn't really mean. Because this is a fantastic game. This is an absolute fantastic game. And if I was going to pick best game, I probably would have picked this over Elden Ring for Game of the Year. Like I said, I probably wouldn't have picked either one of those games for Game of the Year. I still think Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin was one of the funnest experiences I've had. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion was also super fun to play. Like, those 2 games I think kind of got snubbed in the Game of the Year category, and so I don't know, but if it was me deciding between this and Elden Ring, I actually probably would have taken this. And so if you're a fan of the God of War games, this is a fantastic addition. And if this happens to be the last one, I think they ended it on a very positive note. Much like when we played Metroid Dread. That game was so fun and so good. This game is so fun and so good that, like, but it also ends it perfectly. You have Atreus goes off on his own adventure. Now you're just kind of like fixing everything, and so you don't really know where the direction's going to go for the next game, if there is a next game. And so if it is, it ends on a very positive, very high note. I think it's a good way for the God of War franchise to go out, go out on top rather than on bottom. And I don't really know what else to say other than, like, it's very good. And like, it's hard to be really surprised because you kind of expect this from a game like this. You expected this to be really good. I expected this to be really good. Luckily, it happened to be as good, if not better, slightly better than what I expected it to be. And so it's fantastic when that actually happens. And I encourage people to play this game. If you're a From Software type of like slow-paced action adventure, you'd like this game. If you're a fan of the God of War games, specifically the last one, God of War 4, you would like this one. If you like games that have puzzles and stuff, and not just fighting hordes of enemies, you would like this game. It's very good. It looks phenomenal. It sounds great, and it's a very touching, very, very human story. considering you're playing as a bunch of gods. So I highly encourage it. It's definitely worth the 70 or 80 bucks, whatever it happens to be at full price. I think full price now is 70 bucks. I got the deluxe edition, which was another $10, so I could get like the extra gear and everything. It's totally worth it. Absolutely. No need to wait for like a sale. If you can find it on sale, that's even better. But two thumbs way up on this one, and it's one that I encourage any fan of games to go out and get. So do yourself a favor and pick this one up. 2 thumbs up. God of War was great, and you should play it.